Welcome back to Chips and Salsa. I'm CRob.
I'm Jerry, and
Yes,
today
you
we
are.
are joined by Daniel and Carlos.
Hey everyone.
Yes. Intel luminaries. Yay.
Yeah, and so you guys want to give a quick introduction of yourself, what you do at Intel?
Yeah, I've been working at Intel 25 years, security 17 or 18. I've been working, well, now we're in the foundational security organization, but I've been working on CSME and ME before it since 2004 or 5. The focus of our talk at Black Hat, of Carlos and my talk at Black Hat, is on fault injection detection circuits and countermeasures, and so that's about half of what I work on. I also work on a lot of graphic security, trusted computing, cryptographic protocols, etc. But the focus of this conversation is on fault injection detection circuits that Carlos and I have been working on for since 2014 together, nice. I think.
Carlos, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Carlos Tokunaga. I'm a principal engineer in the Circuit Research Lab in Intel Labs. So I do research on reliability and resilient circuits. And as Daniel mentioned, we've been working together for quite a long time on the circuits to enable fault injection detection.
Nice.
Cool.
So obviously, Daniel and I are here in Vegas at Black Hat. Lucky us.
Black Hat.
Every decade or so, I'll show up to Black Hat. That's about as much of Vegas I can take. It's been...
Carlos looks like he's got his virtual background with a swimming pool. That's awesome. But like you said, we're here to talk about your talk, which is happening tomorrow. Fault injection detection circuits, design, calibration, validation, and tuning. And, so basically you're covering tunable replica circuits.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so Intel has been a little bit more open with the internals of our security products. And so because of that, we're looking to kind of disclose to the public and to our industry partners and the researchers that make up the Black Hat community as to more and more of what we actually put into the silicon and the firmware and the software. So to show, hey, we're not hiding anything, number one, to disclose exactly what we're doing, and to do a little bit of advertising as to the goodness in our products. So specifically, our talk is about a circuit that we added to the converged security and manageability engine. If you're not familiar with CSME, it's a embedded security subsystem that was formerly called the manageability engine that we've had in our client and previously server chipsets since 2006. And in the Alder Lake platform, we, for the first time, added fault injection detection capabilities through the Tunable replica circuit that Carlos invented way back when. And it basically just raises the bar and kind of allows us to claim fairly a significant physical attack protection for at least the CSME subsystem, which is of pretty significant interest to our customers and our partners, especially those who we've been shipping products like trusted platform modules, otherwise known as TPMs, DRM solutions, etc., that all have physical attacks within their security threat models.
Now, are these circuits available now in shipping products?
Yeah, so the TRC shipped in the Alder Lake desktop version of CSME last year, and then I think early this year we shipped the first mobile product for Alder Lake. So Alder Lake is our 12th generation Intel Core product. It's a client product if you're not familiar with the roadmap, and it's the predecessor to Alder Lake was Tiger Lake. A very well-known product. Alder Lake came right after that, and then following Alder Lake is Meteor Lake on the client roadmap. And then there's also some other products as well, like Raptor Lake. But yeah, so Alder Lake is the first instantiation of a high-volume Intel product with this level of fault injection. And so the client group and IPAS felt it was a really good thing for us to go explain how it worked, promote its capabilities, and show that
Now, what's the feedback so far? Well, two questions. One, what's the feedback from those customers and partners so far? And also, do we get any sort of telemetry out of this? Or
well, the feedback is, really, we didn't know you guys added that, which is kind of partially why we said, well, we better come to Black Hat and tell people. And so we haven't, like I said, we're just now formally advertising the TRC capabilities, and a lot of feedback was, we didn't know. That's great. I want to hear more. And so we'll see what when our partners, kind of like our partners, when we say partners, we mainly consider like the operating system vendors, Microsoft and Google. They're aware because they see our roadmaps a little bit earlier, and they get to ask more questions. And and myself and other folks in my org have a lot of direct communication with our partners like Google and Microsoft. With the customers, we have a little bit less communication, especially at the marketing level. And so we figure by coming to Black Hat, they'll hear about it in one fell swoop and get all the technical details that they need to hear.
So yeah, how do customers know how to use it?
Well, so you don't really have to do anything. It's enabled by default for CSME. It's calibrated in our own manufacturing facilities, so OEMs and their customers don't have to do a thing. It's just like an airbag, right? It's always on.
Yeah, I guess my burning question is, how do they know if it's actually providing protection to them? Are there logs or anything like that would?
So there's a way to detect through basic PCIe config space scans if the TRC detected an attack.
Okay.
Normally, the only reason a customer who is behaving correctly and not trying to attack their own product would need to know if the product is working is if a false positive occurred, right? So if it falsely detected an attack, that would be a bad thing, and they would need to do triage. Falsely detecting, because these attacks are very, very intentional attacks that don't happen in the wild. So the example attacks are the main attacks we're preventing against detecting and mitigating are voltage glitches on pins, clock glitches on pins, thermal attacks through however means through either direct heating of the package or more precise heating of the die via lasers, as well as electromagnetic radiation attacks through electromagnetic wands. So it's automatically, you're always protected, and if and the only person who would need to know is an attacker, right? That it's there, and so there's no real logs to tell the end user it's on. It's kind of like an airbag. Now, we don't have a little glowy light saying airbag enabled, but even those, I think, so only if the airbag isn't working, you see a message, right, on your car, or if the airbag's been disabled because your kid's in the car, right? So there's really no reason to advertise that it's on, because it's always on, and that's just a guarantee we make.
Nice. CRob, you have any questions?
I was curious. You mentioned that Carlos actually invented this component. Is that true?
So our team in the Circuits Research Lab has developed many technologies to IP to basically monitor the environment that's happening on the chip. We worked quite a bit on reducing garbans in our products, and the TRC was one of these IP that we have developed over the years through several test chips, and then proving it in different products, as Daniel was mentioning.
That's pretty cool. How does it feel to actually, see your baby kind of go out into the world with Alder Lake and beyond? Is that exciting?
It's very exciting to see that the IP that you develop has provided value to the products, and especially guaranteeing a very strong security feature.
So can you share any insights into what's next? Are you going to continue to evolve this, or are you guys going to branch out into some new area of protections?
Yeah, so my philosophy in security has always been evolutionary, right? Make small incremental changes and then proliferate those changes and those features into as many products and IPs as possible. So yes, we have a plan, but obviously we can't discuss unannounced products and unannounced
Sure.
features in unannounced products as well. But yes, we are creating an evolutionary roadmap for physical attack protection at Intel.
Nice.
No question about that.
Physical attacks are a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, more
We're
recently,
always saying, that's outside of the threat model.
Yeah, it has been in the past. It gets interesting when a classic you call it use case for this, or a classic attack here is the laptop left in the taxi cab, right? Which Microsoft first looked at with their BitLocker feature. And so BitLocker is a feature that encrypts your hard drive in Windows, and Linux has similar features for when you leave the laptop in the taxi and the taxi driver hands it to their friend, who can then hand it to a shop that can crack the laptop. And the rumor was the rumor was that an Intel laptop could unencrypted Intel laptop could fetch 50 grand on the open market, right? Just for our secrets. It's probably gone up from there. That's an urban legend, but it's not an unreasonable value for money. And so up till now, attackers have been using mainly software means, right? Bugs in software, bugs in the operating system, bugs in the early code in what is known as firmware. And once those are patched, if you have a very straightforward, if you can reproduce a voltage glitch, right, that occur a voltage, if you can use a voltage glitch to reproduce an attack that you can allow yourself to unlock a laptop, then a criminal enterprise has a way to make money, right, using this attacks. And as you were saying, as more of the software and firmware holes are patched, attackers are going to start moving into physical attacks.
Right.
For sure.
I guess last question is, what do you guys hope viewers will take away from your talk?
So Carlos and I always try to do two things. One is to educate the people we're educate the industry as to what fault injection attacks are and what the attacker goals are, right? And then number two, explain how Intel is solving these problems, right? And so it's if you give them my goal is always to give the audience a little bit of something, in the case of a little mini class on how fault injection attacks work, what the exploits are, and then explain to them how we're mitigating those attacks. So they come off with, so Black Hat is, inviting us here. They're treating us well, and so we want to make sure we give back to Black Hat with an educational session, as well as to advertise as what Intel is doing. Right, because Intel, there's a lot of naysayers saying Intel doesn't care about security, which is completely untrue, and this is to dispel that opinion from some of the folks.
I think a key takeaway for me already is how we're kind of up in the game on physical security, which is
absolutely
good to see in the industry just in general, because physical, I don't know if you remember the Microsoft's 10 immutable laws of security,
right?
Law number one is, if the bad guy has physical access to your computer, it's not your computer.
Right.
And I don't think that flies anymore in the industry. People are looking for companies like Intel to step.
So yeah, like you said, really emphasize to the audience that Intel is very serious about physical attacks. We know what we're doing, and we have a solution that is very, very robust.
Carlos, any?
No, just want to say, echo what Daniel said, and just saying that there's a lot of effort in research and development to bring these features into the products, and we are doing the best we can for our customers.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you for
All right.
coming a day before your sabbatical.
Yeah.
And sitting
No
down
problem.
with us. And Carlos, thank you for logging in remotely. And CRob, I know it's late for you, so that's it for this episode, and we'll see you all next time.
All right. Thank you all very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. See you guys.